Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommie Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the President and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation. And I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommie Lewis, President and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
What's good, Tommie? What's good, baby?
Hey, nothing much. It's a rainy morning this morning here in the Midwest.
Yes, it is.
Southwest Ohio. So I hope that everyone and everyone's family is doing well. I would like to jump off very quickly. For those of you who are fathers like Eric and I, we will not be with you on tomorrow. So we wish you a happy Father's Day. For all of our fathers, grandfathers, and even those who are in the position of fathering.
That's right. Because there are a lot of people that are raising young people, investing in young men. People like Terry Cooley, who's a foster dad, so he is a father.
Absolutely.
But other people that haven't had children that are coaches. I know that our young people need fathers. And so it's one of the most important roles, if not the most important role in my entire life. I wanted to be a father, Tommie, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I love children like that. And it hasn't disappointed me. I've got 4 wonderful children. And, they don't have to do anything for me for Father's Day, but just be. Because I'm excited about being a father.
Yeah, Eric, this week I was on jury duty, and we can talk about that in a moment. But one of the fellow jurors had, kind of scanned the room and said, I wish all the fathers, those who are fathers, wish you a happy Father's Day. Mm-hmm. And almost unanimously, the fathers in the room simply nodded their head in a quiet thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And this particular person was a female, and then she followed up with, "Are you expecting great gifts?" And there were some more seasoned fathers, and we all simultaneously chuckled like,
"Yeah, we the fathers, right?" Time maybe years ago,
right? And a couple things ran through my mind like, "Oh, you don't know, right? You don't know what doesn't happen for Father's Day."
That's right. Mother's Day is the big holiday,
right? And we get big gifts,
Right?
And then the other is another thought that flashed into my mind was, and without judgment, it just flashed into my mind. Mm-hmm. I wonder if this individual has children, right? Because if you have children, if you're a female and it's a male who's the father, there is a Mother's Day, and so there's a lot of stuff that happens around that.
Right.
That you go to any grocery store, there's flowers, there's cars, there's candies. Right. You get a little more seasoned. There's some expectations of jewelry and things like that, and cars and houses for Mother's Day. That's great. But then if you have children, there's a father. That you get some time with your child or children, right? And so the perspective that one has on an event can vary based on their point of view. And so tomorrow being Father's Day, the perspective, as we talked about, last week, and point of view is important. And our perspective is, we just do what we've been called to do.
That's right. Tommie, why don't you just say, I love listening to you talk about your father, man. Just say give a shout out to your father and tell us, what he meant to you.
Oh yeah, Eric, thank you very much. I'm the namesake of my father. So my father's Tommie Lee Lewis Sr., and I'm Tommie Lee Lewis Jr. And my father, he passed away, transitioned in 2006. February 2006, and he did not know then that I was expecting a child, right? And he passed before my son was born, But my father was he was a evolving man.
I like that.
Eric. In his younger days, I would say 30s and 40s, because he had his first child. He and my mother had their first child at the age of 18, 19. And then I came on some 10 or 11 years later as the last and the only boy. So I actually held on to the namesake of the Lewis family.
Oh, wow.
I was the last Lewis.
Right.
And my father knew this, and I knew this, and he let me know. That's how I knew it. But my father, he was a very determined man early on in his career, in his life, 20s and 30s. That determination was laser focused. Right.
Right.
That laser focus was hot with some folks. It was hot.
He's a real man.
Yeah. So when he's laser focused, the sensitivities of humanity, it wasn't.
They didn't come into play.
No. No. It was here. It was black or white, right or wrong, fail or succeed. There was no horseshoes. I got it close at all with anything.
Right.
And your questions having me think about this.
Right.
And so everybody knew TL, right? Straight shooter.
Right.
Throw back a little scotch.
Right.
Smoke a little stogie every now and again.
Right.
And
I like that.
no filter. We move on. He's in his 50s, mid 50s. Now he's in his late 50s, and he experiences a heart attack. And I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
Been there for about 11, 12 years. Get a call from my mother. Father's had a heart attack. I was actually at work. What should I do? Can't do anything right now. Even if you were to drive, it'll take you 5.5 hours, 6 hours. So I end up making it back up to Cincinnati a couple days later. Once I knew he was okay, and I was coming anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Next stop.
And my father, after his heart attack, two things had primarily happened. He was a lighter man, much more easygoing, much more laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Less laser focused, more family focused. He grew his beard out, his gray beard. He was easy like Sunday morning. And so my sisters, my mother and I, we experienced our father through an evolution of change. I experienced him only during my life, but my mother later told me that, my mother and father met when they were 6 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
6 years old. Said, your father's changed since he was 6, right, to now. And so I give great praise to my father today, because a lot of that laser focus, I got it, Eric, and I can't run from it.
Right.
And then the evolution to laissez-faire, what's life really about? And I see this, and I hear this in you as well, Eric, as you often talk about what's important to you now. When you talk to your children around what success is, I see that. And so I'm so very happy and proud of my father, what he's instilled in me. I was fighting for some time about the namesake. I didn't want to live up to his high expectations. He told me, don't worry about it. I said, okay, I'll worry about it. But now it's a badge of honor. I'm so blessed to be Tommie Lewis Jr. And allow my father to look upon me to say, job well done. And now I have a son who carries the name Lewis. No pressure. Do whatever you want to do. Right. Because a lot of that is myth. At the end of the day, it is not even important. For real. I got to hold up the family crest. No. You just got to live your life. That's what you got to do. So that's my homage to my father.
I'm so glad I asked that question. And so community, I want to, as we do oftentimes, I want to slow that picture frame down and say, Tommie, the title of our session today is, again, Perspective is Power Part 2. And what I heard from you is a recognition, a perspective of your father sort of before the heart attack and then after the heart attack. And there are gems to be mined out of each section of his life. The focus, the take no prisoners, to go get it done, and then the laissez-faire, love the family, life is, and I love both elements of that. I would say to you, community, that every father has had a father, and if you had a good father like Tommie had, and my father was a good father, he was flawed as well, you know, as we all are. But if you had a good father, then oftentimes you reflect on it from the perspective of the child.
Yes.
And you don't actually fully see the transition that you've made from the small fry to the big mountain. And Tommie, what I would say to you is that that's what I see in you is the big mountain.
Yes. Thank you.
I see you not just the son. You are now the son that has taken everything that your father gave him, added something to it, and now you're the mountain.
Yeah. And
people will speak of your name with as much honor and reverence as you speak of your father's name. And I'm just grateful to know you as a friend, as a co-host, and as a father, as a fellow father, man. That's what we're striving to be, man. So we just never think about that, do we?
No.
That we the mountain now.
Yeah, right.
You're the mountain.
How do we get here? We're the mountain. Wow, Eric, that is phenomenal.
Right.
Because we never think about.
No,
you know,
you're just living life.
Yeah, and we look up
at
the peak of the mountain.
Yeah.
Right. And we see that one lonely soul up there.
Right.
So far away.
Right.
Right.
I can't reach that.
Can't reach that.
And I watched, like I say, when I went to Bryce's graduation event, I just saw the honor and the esteem that your nephews had about you.
Yeah.
And I watched that. And I watch how you do everything, from even what we did this morning. You're about business. You're on things. There's leadership in you. There's a general there that if there's a void in leadership, what?
Right.
Nobody had to vote for me. I'm the general. That's what we do. Forward. That's what Tommie said. Eat. Forward. Hey, man. And I was like, hey, I'm jumping a little bit. That's right. And I promise you, if somebody isn't prepared to do that, Tommie, we're in trouble. The whole human race is in trouble. If somebody isn't saying forward, if you're still piddling around, somebody got. E, we don't have the TV today.
We're all in the boat. We're all in the boat,
and the water's rising.
Water's rising. We have oars.
Yeah,
and no one is stroking away.
That's right.
Right.
That's
in fact, we may be rowing, but we're all going in different directions.
Right.
Go.
Right. And I honor that. I honor that. I respect that. It's a blessing in a world that's trying to, in many ways, eliminate some of the power and the value of fathers.
Yeah. Eric, I'll jump in here real quick and then turn the question over to you. I want to share with our community, full transparency, a few technical difficulties this morning.
Right.
And so what that does is that creates a chance for us, Eric and I, to really go back to our original start of diversity conversations. So let me unpack that. A couple of things. One, community, we're unable to see your comments this morning, right? But we would like to invite you to continue to share, continue to like and subscribe. We have Lydia behind the scenes, our producer, doing phenomenal work.
Right.
I want us to continue as if it's a regular show, because it is.
Right.
It's a regular conversation.
And Lydia can bring the comments up too, Lydia, so we'll see them.
Yep. And then that's great, Eric. And then this will be an opportunity for us to revisit, all of us, to revisit later, right, as folks are sharing. So we'll be able to see some things there. Secondly, in the beginning, we started these diversity conversations over the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So we could not see or hear our community.
That's right.
And we continued week in and week out, coming together, two good brothers, two CEOs, two microphones, right? You see the logo.
Right.
And that's how we started. In fact, Eric, our radio podcast, it was microphones and headsets.
Right.
And we were in kind of a closet, if you will, of a studio. Right. It was door and glass behind us. There was another producer right in front of us moving the keys on the keyboard.
Right.
But I wanted to bring that up because I believe, and thank you for your acknowledgement of my mind of moving forward, not skipping a beat.
Love it.
I have to do that, Eric, for my mindset, because although I manage change well when it happens, either I create the change or change lands on me. When change lands on me, I want to control the controllables. So my mind goes to everybody's rowing in this different directions.
Right.
That's stop.
Yeah.
Right. Where are we going?
Right.
Here, we're going to run the show. Let's go. Right. Let's go and let's roll together versus spinning our wheels, and then other folks outside saying, "Oh, they don't know what they're doing."
Right.
Or inside,
right.
You don't know what you're doing.
Right.
I run my business like that. I run my household like that.
Right.
Right. What's the plan this month, this quarter, this year, even to the point of vacations? Next year, we're going to do something different for vacation. Planning now. Right. I'm not rowing in the opposite direction of the goal. Right. And so when the water heater goes out, technology, right? Time out. Let's fix the water heater so we can get back to the plan toward vacation. That's how my mind works versus let me spend 3 months trying to see if I need to fix this water heater. No, 3 months. Pull the trigger on that, right? Man, we can talk about some things. What I'm telling you, Eric, is lessons that I learned in training that the people in the training have taught me. Right. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
And so I want to add to that too. So part of being a general, and this is what makes Tommie unique, is that although he was saying forward, as soon as some additional information came, he's still listening. And he's still incorporating things in, because we were almost at a rerun for y'all. And then we realized that we had everything we needed right here. Tommie said, no, boom, we're here. Yeah. And I love that because it's rare for most people can't do that. I mean, talk and chew bubble gum at the same time, Yeah. And so let me share about my father. I did not know for most of my life, my parents, I love both of them. God rest their souls. My father was my hero. I loved him. He was a big man. And I would see him as big as the doorway. He would just walk through a room. He was a big man. Everybody loved him. He had a huge personality. And he was big on work ethic, on sports, on school and getting your education. And so I appreciated that. I didn't know when I was growing up that I was his favorite. I would have never said that. I never felt that way. But I think that he saw a lot of me, Tommie, in him. And so he brought me into his business because he thought I was probably the best fit. The downsides of him is that he sort of characterized each of his children. He called my older brother the Boogaloo N-word, and he said, you either gonna go to Central State or go to the Army. I mean, he was just throwing stuff like that at him. He saw Wendell and George, my younger brothers, George as the scholar, sort of book guy because he had a phenomenal memory, but he also sort of hitting with homophobic things all the time as well. He didn't have a name for Stephanie, and he didn't have a name for me other than he saw me as the one that was always making good decisions and choices. Like I would go to the store with the same amount of money as all my siblings and bring back 5 times the stuff. So a couple of times he just gave all their Christmas money to me and said, Eric, you go buy for them, and so I'm grateful for the great things that I received from both my father and my mother. I'm glad I had a father. But I also have to recover from some of the broken things in my father. And that's what I would say to you, community, that no matter what kind of father you had, some of you had great fathers and all you could think about is the positive, great things. Some of you had, fathers that you never saw or never knew. And then some of you had fathers that had strengths and weaknesses. That's most of who all of us are. And on this Father's Day, I think that it is a great thing to recognize the benefits and the things that you're trying to recover from.
Yeah, thank you again, Eric, for sharing that. We're going to jump into our topic
right
today.
Lydia, why don't you pull up our, let's see, I'm not telling Wendell, you just said you were his favorite. That's funny. Thank you. Bring up our slides. Thank you. Perspective is Power, Part 2. We had such a phenomenal time with you all last week that we wanted to come back to this and even think about it, maybe even in more practical ways. So go to the next slide there, Lydia. And that says that as we think about perspective is power, we're thinking about the choices that you make every single day and how they can be powerful for you. And one of them is just sort of this shift. So if perspective is power, then as you shift your perspective, then you become more powerful. And so we see here that the old perspective is, I deserve to spend what I make. But what if you shifted that to a new perspective? The future me deserves the benefit from what I earn today. Tommie, what can you say about the power the power perspective as it relates to spender versus saver investor?
So I think that there's the risk of changing perspective is that if you change from one perspective that you already know, it may be tested,
right?
It may support your own thinking. That's your perspective. If you change to another perspective, the risk is that you can fail, that it will not be better than your previous perspective, that decisions that you make with this new perspective, Eric, will hurt, harm, or kill. I mean, again, kill an idea, kill progress, all that good stuff.
Right.
That's the risk. The reward of changing perspective is leadership is seeing an opportunity before it presents itself. Identifying the correct path towards success and surrounding yourself with the right people to follow you to the end. So if there are people around you that are offering up different perspectives and you're wise enough to absorb and understand that there's a different perspective, that will then lead you more on a path toward opportunities that have not presented themselves. If I'm thinking about money, I make money and spend money, right? Okay, how's that working out for you? Well, great question, because at the end of each month, I have no money. Oh, okay, let me understand. So you're working every month to be broke at the end of each month.
Right.
Well, no, that's what you just said. At the end of your month, you don't have any money. That's your perspective, your mindset, even your view of money. What if you were to change your perspective?
Right.
And save, spend below your means, save more. And let me give you some charts, all that good stuff, maybe give you some opportunities, some examples of what saving does. So just try it for 3 months,
Right.
6 months. So now I'm talking to some other folks around me that are saving for whatever they're trying to save for.
Right.
A new home, a new car, a vacation, new shoes, clothes, whatever. And at the end of the month, they still have some spending cash.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I try that perspective
Mm-hmm.
of saving, I do it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Now it's a habit that, oh, my money is working for me, and I'm still able to spend the money that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm winning on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was winning and losing, now
Right.
I'm winning. So the
Right.
benefit is a win-win proposition.
Right.
Now everybody else can win.
Right.
So that's the power of perspective.
That's right.
Because you're now seeing an opportunity before it presents itself, and you are better prepared to receive the opportunity with information and the power of perspective.
And we are two sponges. So every week we are literally like Pac-Man. You know, little Pac-Man that eat up stuff. We're eating up the ideas that we collect from each other. I was trying to say to you, the reason why we're coming back to this as a part 2 is because today, in the world today, too many people have the perspective of anxiety, oppression, depression, because they feel like they're living in a world that they can't control. Well, you're right. You can't control the world, but you can control yourself. And so what we're saying is that every single day, you have the opportunity to shift your perspective in areas where you feel like you're losing to perspectives that would increase the probability of you winning. Now, let me give you an example, and then we're going to come back to the slides. So I'm going to conferences, and I've got a wonderful bookkeeper that manages our finances, Integrity's finances, very shrewdly and well, as though they were her own. And so she looks at me and says, Eric, some of these events that you're going to, we got to calculate if it's really paying anything back. She said, because if it's not going to be adding value to Integrity, then we have to determine. I mean, she pulled out a Bunsen burner. Forget a candle.
Yeah.
She pulled a Bunsen burner out, put it up under me like, go get some business or stop going. And so what I did then in preparation time, I love that I got a team. Yeah. See, this is the foolishness of leaders that don't create psychological safety in their organizations. If your people can't just put you in a corner and say something direct to you, give you some truths, then why have people if they're all going to just line up and smile and say you're the greatest? I love the fact that she is, and she's unemotional about it, but she's just given practical common sense. So what I did in preparation, I said, okay, thank you, Suzanne. I'm not going to go unprepared. Like with just a few cards in my, don't know who's attending, all that kind of stuff that I do from time to time. Man, I had me and my assistant, Sarah, put together a link tree. If you're not familiar with Linktree, it's a QR code that you can link a lot of information. So I have a promo video on there. I have our website on there. I have all my social media on there. I have several articles on there. I have an excerpt of my book. I have an Amazon link to buy in my book. I mean, everything. My CD is the last thing on there. So you literally, it's organized. And here's the result. So when I was there, people were trying to exchange information. I said, well, here, I've got a QR code. So they pull out their phone, take a picture, and then all of a sudden that link tree, they're like, oh my goodness. And what it did was it spoke to our excellence before they even opened up anything. And so I was grateful that someone on my team shifted my perspective, which made me shift my behaviors to something that is going to be a lot more successful than just spraying and praying.
That is fantastic. Again, I'm shamelessly stealing ideas.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, and invite the community to do that, right? We're in a position and we're in a mindset that when folks are talking about these great ideas, and then we ask, so what are you doing with that great idea?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, I'm not doing anything. No, give me that. Give me that.
Right.
I'm not doing anything with my great ideas. Give me that great idea.
Right.
Right. And so I want our community to double back and listen to what Eric is saying. Maybe show the video again, go to the show again. And if you think about yourself, your own personal brand and perspective, your business or businesses, your family's role, whatever they are, whatever they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
How are we changing our perspective to either do better, be better, greater exposure, or greater service to others? Because the greatest idea in a vacuum may not be heard. The greatest service to humanity that doesn't come out into fruition is simply a dream. We have to move the perspective
Come on now.
from dreaming
Right.
to action.
And you can do that.
We can do it. Yep.
We have the power to do that.
Yep.
Let me give you one other quick story, and then Tommie will come back. So I got this lesson 35 years ago from Cheryl Meadows. She was a leader for the city of Cincinnati. I had gone to one of those planning conferences, national conferences. I was a young buck then, just out of graduate school, ready to see the world and go do my thing. And I was at this conference, and my hand was up all the time. And she said to me something that I've never forgotten since she said it to me. She said, "Eric, you're a smart young man." She said, "But sometimes you ought to lay back and allow people to discover that." Ooh. That was just a sweet way of saying, quit talking so much. And so I've never forgotten that. And so at this conference that I just came from, I'm at a small group. They had table topics. I wasn't speaking at the conference. I was just attending it, which was, I enjoyed that. I'm at my small group table. We're all talking. I'm adding some ideas. And so when the person up front said, "Okay, who's going to give a summary?" Tommie, this is what we do all the time. Who's going to summarize the conversation? My whole table's yelling, "You, Eric, you." I mean, it just kind of forced me up. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And so I got up and I said one sentence. I said, "But you know what? Actually, this young lady here has got an outstanding sort of summary of the conversation." And I sat down and turned it over to her because her mind was moving quickly because she was the facilitator of our conversation. Man, she got up. And what she said to me at the end of the event, she said, "Eric, I really want to do business with you." She says, "Because you are so humble." She said, "All the things that you've done and all that you know, you're not clamoring to get to the limelight." And so the lesson that Cheryl Meadows gave me 35 years ago that I applied because I'm not looking for extra limelight. I want to sit back and let people discover that shift in perspective has paid dividends.
That's great, Lydia. You bring up the slide, and as we bring it up, that just reminds me, again, we'll keep it up here. It reminds me of one of my professors many moons ago would say, "Hear me now, understand me later." Hear me now, understand me later. So to our community, I would like to invite you to think back at the gifts, blessings, and talents that were provided to you in your earlier years. Earlier in life, earlier in career, earlier in parenthood, adulthood, and then reflect to what jewels are you applying today that just surfaced up.
That's right.
So that little pebble was dropped in the water some years ago, and for whatever reason is starting to surface, and now, I'm using that now. I would like to invite our community to do that.
Excellent. Now, if you look at this other side, then the insights from this are the median U.S. household retirement savings and for people 55 to 64 is only 134,000. Now, if you were just doing, I told my son this yesterday, But if you just invested $200 a month from age 25 to 65, it can grow to $500,000. I mean, and so just shifting your perspective from spending to saving and investing, you can have a lot more money. Let's go to the next slide. Tommie?
From the sedentary to active lifestyle, right? And I'm having difficulty reading, Eric, so you have to help me out.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. I don't have time to exercise. So that's the old perspective. A new perspective is movement gives me more time and energy for life.
So help me understand that a little bit. I'm thinking two different things, but
yeah. So here's where I am. That I've got both knees, total knee replacements. So in July of last year, I replaced my left knee. And then in November of last year, I replaced the right, total knee replacements. And I've been recovering. I was doing my physical therapy and that kind of thing. But if you're not careful in the work that Tommie and I are doing, when we're not out in the world consulting and training, we're in our offices, looking at screens. Typing up things, doing reports, developing training. If you're not careful, you can have a sedentary sort of life experience. And so I was at, one of the things that gives me exercise is I like shopping. So I'm out at TJ Maxx one day, and I saw that bike there, and the manager said, "Do you know if you have rewards points?" Man, I got $100 off. I paid $60 for a Schwinn bike. Brought it to the office. And Tommie, I literally have been riding that bike now. And so I went from a sedentary experience to riding my bike. Now, at my age, I'm older than Tommie, I'm not trying to get out on the road with the bike.
Right.
Because I ain't really trying to be an accident out
here. Yeah.
And so I said, well, I'm going to just go around my building, And then all of a sudden, when I got on the bike, I realized that I could go around my building, but also the office buildings next to us. And so, Tommie, right now, I feel like moving from a sedentary experience in my workday to riding my bike and listening to music, it gives me more energy and more life.
Wow, Eric.
A shift in perspective.
Could you have known that where you are now is where you would be at the beginning of your journey?
No. And so, number one, I'm not the kind of guy that would do radical surgery like total knee replacements.
Right.
But the quality of my life was going down. I'm going to Disney World with my family, and they got to sit me down somewhere, leave me somewhere. I've got to look at who can, the Disney staff, do they have a wheelchair? Do they have one of those special carts? Tommie, I didn't really see myself being there. And so because the quality of my life was going down, I had to shift my perspective from a person that wouldn't do surgeries to a person who has now opened themselves up to that. Now, when I first went at it, I had a surgeon, somebody I knew. I was ready to go. We're going to do it at their office. My wife, the family voted. Stop. You're not doing the surgery on July 3rd because we need you to do the surgery with somebody that does knees every day, and it has to be in a trauma one hospital. So perspective shifting because people around me who love me are giving me new information that influences my decision.
And you receive that new information. You may have changed your perspective from where and from whom the new information is coming from.
Right.
That's one.
Right.
And then the why behind that new information.
Right.
So it wasn't only go to this new doctor or can't trust the doctor that you're already going to.
Right.
It was in the event that something may go left.
Right.
From our perspective, we need you.
Right.
And because we need you, we recommend that you go up to a place that's full service.
Right. And we're not, this ain't an opinion.
Right.
We're not asking.
Yeah.
We telling.
Is a directive.
Right.
Right. Time out, Eric.
Right.
This way.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
A Tommie Lewis move.
Yeah.
And the thing is, now, again, perspective is power. I didn't have on my own the perspective of going and doing total knee replacement. I didn't see what was on the other end of the knee replacements. And Tommie, here I am today, less than a year's time, 2 major radical surgeries, and I'm skipping through the tulips. I mean, both my knees feel amazing, my quality of life, and I got 2 inches taller.
2 inches tall, right? Add that too.
Right.
Eric, this is great. This is great. As I'm thinking of my own perspective taking and staying in the same vein of health and healthcare. I am struggling physically and mentally between those two. Mentally, as a former athlete, a 4, if not 5 sport athlete, a multi-sport athlete, meaning beyond football, basketball, track, baseball, and soccer and all that good stuff. From bowling to darts to hopscotch to playing jacks,
right?
I excel in all of
it. Right. Hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination. My body responds well to light impact, heavy impact. Right. In recent years, 5, maybe 10 years, because of lower energy, testosterone, libido, just energy, my body is suffering. It's storing sugar in different places. You all know the story. I work with my mind most of the day, which burns a lot of energy. I don't eat properly throughout the day, or I hadn't. And so by the end of the day, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I'm beat. And so I may eat a little energy food, which is high on everything wrong. And then now my body is remembering being sedentary, sitting, not high impact. My mind is saying, you got to change. So one of the things I've been doing, and it's part of my routine, maybe it's even a reminder of how my body responds. Even when I'm walking anywhere, going to the grocery store, I go to the mall, I go anywhere, I have a nice pace to my walk. I do. It's much faster than my wives. It's much faster than my coworkers. I walk because I'm burning. And then my mindset also is, this is the only time, this little 3 minutes of walking from the car to the conference room or the building, that you're going to get your little exercise, because you don't have the discipline to go to your membership club and do the workout. So when I went out with the wife, she, Tommie, slow down. And I'm like, I'm trying to, but now we're walking at a speed that I can just be sitting. At the same tone, when I go walking with the wife, she's walking fast. So I'm like, what's the difference between walking from your car to the facility at the same speed as walking for fitness? In my mind, and I'm not judging her at all, in my mind, no difference. No difference. So when you're walking, walk with intention, walk to burn, walk to get energy if you're walking. Otherwise, jog, otherwise run. So that is what I thought in my mind, Eric, when you said, I want to buy this bike just to, get a little bit. Because I'm not going to get on the road to get hurt. Next thing you know, you're riding around in the office space. So it is the same difference. Your mind is saying, you can do it. You have to get to a point of discipline, of changing your perspective of, oh, I can't do it, or I can't do it as much, or I'm going to rationalize what I'm doing it. Your body is saying, it remembers. In closing, with anything, your body never remembers what it never had. And it always remembers what it's had. I share that a lot with people who are trying to change their perspective of, if you've never drank alcohol, or if you've never smoked,
Right.
or if you've never done drugs, your body never misses it.
No, that ain't anything I ever did.
Once your body is exposed to it,
Mm.
it will always remember. Always.
Right.
So if your body remembers, right, certain things, physically you may not be able to do it,
Right.
but your body remembers.
Right.
So let us change our perspective from can't or won't to do and will
And must. Right.
and must.
So I love this, Tommie. And so what we're saying to you, we said perspective is power. But perspective can be weakness as well.
Okay.
And there are two things that are warring between each other inside of your head and your body. There is a powerful perspective, and then there is a failed perspective. There's a defeatist perspective. Tommie and I believe that God gives us powerful perspectives. We believe the enemy gives us defeated perspectives. And so what we're asking you to do is to choose powerful perspectives, because as you begin to do that, you will get the benefit that comes from that perspective. So it wasn't for me to try to go do 2 total knee replacements, but once I got a shift in my mind, now I'm thrilled, bouncing around, playing golf, having fun. I don't even think about my knees when I go into the garage. Riding a bike, that seemed like, when can I find time to do that? But as soon as I do it, it gives me something that's so valuable: quiet time, music on my head. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. Let's pull up the next slide. And so you can see what happens there. Just 150 minutes of walking per week adds 3.5 to 4.5 years to your life, according to a Harvard School of Public Health. And so there are things that can happen for you. It actually extends your life if you move from a sedentary to an active lifestyle. Let's go to the next one. Tommie, our time is blowing by. Fast food to healthy eating, moving from a person who eats fast food, the easy food, to somebody who is eating healthier. Now, Tommie, it starts with information. And so for me, I love that AI and chat. I can ask it questions now. And basically what I saw, Tommie, is that there's almost nothing that we can get fast food that's going to do anything good for us. It's horrible.
It's all bad.
I mean, I started asking chat, like, okay, what can we do at fast food restaurants? And it started saying, well, order a hamburger, but a lettuce burger. Put that. I was like, what? And so order more water. I mean, it was just giving me all those kinds of, what kind of nuts? And then it gave me nuts and what they do. And I was asking chat, as a pre-diabetic, how do these things affect me? And what happens is that when you get information, Tommie, it helps you to make better choices, because it shifts your perspective. Ignorance then will allow you to comfortably do things that are not in your best interest. But after you get informed and better information, I think you can make better choices.
Eric, we have to be open to information that can help us, that change our perspective, which changes our mindset and our behavior. Here's why I say it and slow it down. Because what you just said, and I didn't know what the slide was going to say, and I previously had talked about fitness and food and things, those things I'm not doing or I'm trying to change. So what I do know is that once you're over 40, many of us are over 40, 50, and 60, maybe even 70. We lose strength.
Mm-hmm.
We lose muscle,
Mm-hmm.
right? We lose a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we have to have supplements by way of vitamins, etc. But with fat is burned by muscle. Muscle burns fat. And muscle is built in one way, shape, or form through protein and other things. So in your diet, in our diets, we have to have protein, natural protein,
Right.
and then some supplement protein.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to inject protein throughout our day and not just force feed in a moment,
Mm-hmm.
a sit down, one serving, 30 minutes, fill up with whatever protein and think that's going to carry us throughout the course of 24 hours.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
Our body will start to burn that protein quickly,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera. And so if our perspective is, if I just take in X amount of protein in 30 minutes and don't do any other protein throughout the course of the day, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You won't.
Right. Right.
And so over this past week, I've been involved in a series of meetings, and there's one gentleman there who's retired.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scientist, a chemist, retired from a very well-known multinational company.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because when he says that, retired, I have some credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Not just what he does, but anything you say.
Right.
Because you made it through that gauntlet for 35
Right.
years. Lean guy in his 70s,
Mm-hmm.
quiet, introverted. I strike up a conversation with him. I didn't know that he was checking me out as well.
Right. Right. Right.
He asked me out the blue, look like you're in decent shape, right? What are you doing?
Right.
Right? So I'm not doing much. So I understand that you run your business. I heard you say that in your introduction to the group. So are you traveling a lot? Do you move around a lot? I travel okay, and for the most part, I'm in front of my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine as much. Are you a member of a gym? Yeah, I am, but I don't go. Couple things to consider.
Mm-hmm.
You can take it or leave it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he leaned in on me.
Right.
What I would recommend is that you get some resistance bands, right? Resistance bands.
Right.
And so when you get to a certain age, you need some consistency in working those muscles.
Yep.
So resistance bands, you can do it at your chair.
Yeah.
Put on your foot, ankle, right here, around your back. You're doing a couple, right? Just a few reps, right? You're bringing them in, right, to keep your biceps, triceps, all that good stuff, your back and everything. Right. And every now and again, maybe every hour, I know sometimes you find yourself sitting for 4 hours. Stand up, do these stretches. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. He leaned in on me. I heard his perspective.
Right.
One mind said, you don't know me.
Right.
The other mind is, you know exactly who I am.
And you give me a formula to win.
Giving me a formula. So then I doubled down on him. So what's your diet looking like? Glad you asked. So they say eat fruits and vegetables. You have to be careful with your fruits. Tastes good, but your body would turn it into sugar. You got to eat. It will turn. What? My apples, bananas? Yeah. It will turn it into sugar, right? Your body needs sugar, but if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, go to the doctor. They'll tell you. I'm taking off my glasses, Eric. I'm not even involved in the meeting.
Right.
Because I'm getting a new perspective that's beyond MedMD, is beyond going to some digital piece. It's I'm talking to another human being that is telling me something that I see the results in that other human being. Right. Some of us we go to books, we go to technology, and I do all of that, Yep. For crying out loud, I'm a member of a gym that hasn't seen me in 6 months. And I like to donate my membership dues to them every month. Right. But my excuse is I need a different perspective that will lock into my stubborn thinking, my mind. Right. I go golfing, I'm walking. I gotta be done. The show's almost over. Man, listen. We may need to walk.
Oh, no doubt. That's what I want to do. Yeah, that's what I want to do. We're gonna get us those walking carts.
We gotta get. Yeah.
Come on, that way we done with carts.
Yeah.
And so here's what I would add, community, on the heels of what Tommie has just said here about the little man and him bringing him powerful perspectives. I would say to you, and we're coming to the end. I mean, I'm shocked that we just kind of blew through this. The enemy, here's what's happening in your life. The older you get, you're amassing more knowledge, and I would suggest greater value. And so if you're doing the right things, I would say to you that the enemy is now trying to wrap your life up early because you know too much. So the enemy, whatever that is for you, is giving you perspectives that will check you out of here quick. Sit down, don't go anywhere, just eat fast food, don't worry about it, comfort food, take care of yourself. You're feeling under stress, let me give you a donut. And what we're saying to you is that our belief is that God is trying to bring to you powerful perspectives that will add life to you so that you can then be a benefit to your family, to your community, and to yourself. Neither of us, I'm at the age right now that when I'm dying, I'm dead, so, I ain't trying to clamor for life just for life's sake. I mean, people are going to be sad when I'm gone, hopefully, but I'm gone. But it really is, I'm starting to see in the eyes of my children, their desire for me to be healthy enough to be a great grandfather to their children. And so I'm saying to you all that as we wrap up this session, I think we'll come back next week with Perspective is Power Part 3, because we're going to convince ourselves, Tommie and I are going to do this for each other, and then we hope you get it. We're going to convince each other and prove to each other that perspective is power, and we want to choose more powerful perspectives.
We're there again this week, Eric. Our community, thank you all. Thank you, Lydia, for assisting us as always. We apologize for not being able to see
That's right.
regularly.
Rhonda loved what you said. We just couldn't read it all.
Couldn't read it. And thank you for just staying with us, right? It's like the tornado was blowing through the studio today, but we stayed in the eye of the tornado where we're calm, cool, and collected. And that's what God will do. God will calm you. He'll give you a different perspective, maybe directly or indirectly by our fellow human beings. And so from Eric and I to you and back to us, we want to invite you again next week for another installment of Diversity Conversations. Take care.
Take care of each other. Love somebody. And we'll see you next week. Invite